Hi, welcome to How Was the Gig, where Andy and I talk about the latest gig we went to. And this time we went to see the Presets. They are an Australian electronic duo. They were really big in the early 2000s, especially with their hit My People. And they were joined by the Midnight Juggernauts. And their first support act was kind of my highlight, really, Haiku Hands. Yeah.
And it was in the Botanical Gardens, which was a great venue. It wasn't
Beautiful
too
venue.
big. Yeah, much better than the My Music Bowl if you want to see the act. Not too far away. Do you want to go into Haiku Hands straight up? Because that's when we
Yeah.
arrived.
I might just give a bit of background. The crowd was a little bit old school. I guess there were a few 40-year-olds, middle-aged people. But yeah, the presets are a double act. One guy sings, one guy plays the drums. I saw them support Chemical Brothers and it was amazing. They didn't have the drum kit then, but it made me want to see their solo show this time around. So we got there during Haiku Hands, though, the support act, which we never heard of, and was blown away. What did you think when you first saw
Yeah, they were
Haiku
amazing.
Hands?
There's four. I mean, I don't know how old people are anymore, but they look like they're teenagers. They look like they're school kids. And they were great. They were just like really in your face. I said to you, they remind me of that one particular song by Charlie XC, which is on the KFC ad, I Don't Care.
I don't care. Oh,
Yeah, they reminded me of that. That was the vibe they had.
they
And they were
did.
good. They were tight. So the style of music, basically they got a backup track that they sing along to. And the backup vocals are on the track as well. So,
Just to give a visual, four chicks who come out there wearing these oversized, they look like school shirts, which maybe gave the vibe that that's why that guy turned around to us and said, shouldn't these kids be doing their homework?
yeah.
These oversized shirts. They came out wearing these kind of interesting, creepy, cool face masks. And yeah, this dance pop track that they sing to, and they just go nuts on stage. And this is what I've noticed, and I could be making this shit up with these younger or this new generation of performers is there is an element of not being so perfect. So we've moved on from the Taylor Swift perfect blonde, all the right dance moves. The dancers are all in sync to this kind of different, and I feel like that is more Instagram generation where people, where we had the filters and it was all about looking beautiful, but now we have this TikTok generation, which is about dancing and going crazy, and it's a kind of showing your flaws more and being more transparent and more real. And I think Chapel Roan kind of displays that when she was doing her Tiny Desk performance on NPR. The fact that she had lipstick on her teeth as part of her costume kind of encapsulates that. And here was Haiku Hands that was just I don't know how to describe them on set. Of course, they had this energy, but this perfect, imperfect dance moves, this throwing streamers out into the stage. It felt really spontaneous when one of them, a couple of them, just jumped into the crowd, not stage diving, just jumped off the stage and walked into the crowd and was just yelling in their faces with their mic and running up and down. And you know what? You don't get that with the presets. We didn't get that with Midnight Juggernauts.
Look, they were a great support act. They really got
Yeah.
the audience going. Their songs are pretty good.
Yeah. It looked, after I saw them, I thought I need to know everything I can about this band. And it looked like they were one of these, I don't know if they're a band, they're a group, about this group. It looked like they were one of those groups that got together before COVID and started, they started to find their feet, and then COVID hit. Like I think Floodlights have that. I mean, there must be so many with that story. Floodlights had that story. Amyl and the Sniffers have that. They come out with an album and then they can't tour for another 2-3 years. And I think that's what these guys, they just started doing these live shows and started to build something, and then COVID hit and now they're back with a bang.
They were great. And you were so impressed you're seeing them again. Is
I'm
that right?
seeing them again for $22.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
seeing in the
bargain, man.
city. It's $22, and I said, Andy, are you coming with me? You were like, I can't. I'm too old. That's what you
Yeah,
said. You said, I'm a
yeah.
guy. I'll
Um,
stick out like a sore thumb.
yeah, because it's such a small venue. I'm going to stick out like It's going to be such a young crowd. It's going to be a super young crowd, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like, who are these old people? But I just think they're going to be awesome. Haiku Hands at these festivals. I mean, they would have been great at the Ability Festival. But, there are so many festivals you think, oh, you could do with an act like this just to break it up a bit.
They are I would have thought they would be a huge festival act. And I'm sure they've done international festivals, but I want to see them more in the lineups.
Yeah, they really deserve it. But again, it's probably one of those bands. They just need that one breakout hit.
Yeah.
And it'll put them up in the next level.
I noticed their big single from their latest album is called Marula, and that was very popular. When they sung that on the night.
Yeah, I do harp on about the breakthrough hit, but all bands talk about it, yeah? The Hoodoo Guru spoke about it, and Jimmy Barnes spoke about it when he did the K-San song. He said all of a sudden the venues doubled in size. So he was doing this also, and also Teen Jesus spoke about it as well. When at the concert we went to at the Pier Hotel, they said, "This is the song you're all here for." So they acknowledged the fact that this is what made us, the reason you're all here is because you heard about us because of this song.
That was Salt.
So yeah,
Haiku Hands are touring their album Pleasure Beast, their latest album, which I'm seeing in Melbourne for $22, which has the big hit Marula.
And well, I noticed at the gig, some people were like they're big fans because I don't think there's much crossover between Haiku Hands and the presets, but some people were singing along. They knew all the words.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe these people just like follow everything.
I always wonder that too. I'm like, I thought I was up to date with my music. Why don't I know the words? And how does that person know them all?
Yeah. And I like that the presets have put these people there because so often they just have, support bands of the same ilk, so to speak, the same period. Like the Hoodoo Gurus had the Hard-Ons and Jimmy Barnes had Tex Perkins, and they're the same era kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
But the presets, I would assume they're probably about 10 years before Haiku Hands are even formed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they were formed in 2003. They're very Y2K kind of band, the presets. And they supported Daft Punk on Daft Punk's Australian tour. But I would say 2008 was their biggest year-ish. That was nearly 20 years ago.
The presets, I hate to do comparisons, but they did remind me of Empire of the Sun, who also had their breakout in 2008.
Interesting.
That's when
and I love comparisons, by the way.
Yeah. So Walking on a Dream came out 2008. So it's, it's very much that era, I guess. What do you think of the presets?
So I saw the presets support Chemical Brothers, and I guess, what I usually say, maybe I'm not a big enough fan. I was so impressed when they supported the Chemical Brothers. I really rocked out to them. And this is the thing, when they supported the Chemical Brothers, the highlight for me was when they did a sample or a set of Nirvana's Smell Like Teen Spirit. I know that sounds really cliche, but it was so good. And the crowd went nuts. That's okay, the real is good. And then they sampled Rage Against the Machine's Killing in the Name Of. I was down the front and my friends were up the back, and everyone around us was dancing like crazy when Killing in the Name Of came on. And this guy's in my face yelling, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." And I'm yelling it back to him. And it was just one of those random moments between strangers getting into the same music. So was this beautiful moment, yelling at each other. And so I kind of wanted to relive that. But, I didn't see them live in the early 2000s, so I wasn't that sort of fan. And that's what everyone was there for. That kind of dance, almost rave culture. And they didn't do Killing in the Name of or Nirvana. They played their songs and their big hits.
So you liked them when they were more DJ-ish, yeah? When they were just doing samples.
Well, I hate to say it, but I loved their big hits.
My People was probably their biggest hit on Spotify.
And that was nuts. That was wild. I loved that. I absolutely. We're all like, yeah, this is my people right now, and he's singing it, being like, you're my people, and we're like, we're your people.
Yeah.
I live with all my people, locked up with all my people. So let me hear you scream if you're with me, Melbourne. I live with all my people, locked up with all my people. So let me hear you scream if you're with me.
Yeah. And of
So it was a
course,
good moment.
Martini, because the gal behind me kept on saying, do Martini. And I was like, they've already done it. She's like, yeah, but do it again. Every time.
You know what's funny? I listened to their songs that week, like you did, so we can familiarize ourselves with the music. And Martini would come on, and I'd be like, what is this shitty song? They're not going to play this. And then they play it. And that girl was going on and on about it. So what would I know, right?
It's a pretty basic song. Yeah, but I mean, this is go back 2008. Electronic music in Australia, maybe this, someone's reminded of that time in their life or whatever, and they love it.
Yeah, I can see that, especially if you're there to see Daft Punk and these guys are supporting. It'd be a fantastic night.
Yeah, it would. He was pretty energetic though. He was stuck behind a keyboard though, which is always that barrier just from someone in the audience, as opposed to a lead singer who's just out there with a microphone really engaging with everyone. So I always think there's different levels of engagement, and the top level is just you on a microphone singing to people, and then the next level would be a guitar, so you're kind of behind a guitar a little bit, and then you got one of the lowest levels is probably Phil Collins in Genesis, who, when he was the drummer, drumming away, singing.
Yes.
And it's like, man, you got a whole drum kit in front of you. So
yeah, Spider Bait's the same. Yes.
Disconnect from the audience. Like I'd mentioned Tex Perkins wearing sunglasses. It looks cool, it looks great, but it is a little bit of a barrier between you and the audience. It would have served him well to come out from behind the keyboard, and he was kind of boxed in actually.
Yeah.
And just to engage a bit more. And he did once, I think, and everyone was like, wow. He came
lifts.
Yeah, it does.
Lifts the crowd, doesn't it?
It does when he walks right out there to the front. I mean, you look at Cash Savage, she's got no instruments at all. She's just in your face the whole time. So there's that. And Teen Jesus as well. She doesn't play an instrument, the lead. But what he was doing was quite energetic. He's up there, he's doing his best, but I would have liked to have seen, just hire someone else every now and then to come out and do that bit. And you're at the front, you're just doing my people, all that kind of stuff at the front. And the drummer was walking around a bit in between his little things. But there was a moment when the presets, he was doing the keyboard and he had a drum, he was striking something and playing a sample. It reminded me of Waiting for Guffman, because in that there's the trumpet player who has to play the trumpet and play the drums at the same time. And it just looks so funny. It's like, he's playing.
That's very funny.
Yeah. So, from a performance point of view, I think that would have made a difference, anyway. So he's doing a bit of this, bit of that. So just my 2 cents.
I'm always talking about someone who engages with the audience. I mean, the master of that, in my humble opinion, is Nick Cave.
And you're going to say Nick Cave. Just like here comes Nick
I have to say it every episode. But he is. I think that's where Cash Savage learned it from. That's where everyone learns it from, let's be honest. I don't know where Nick Cave got it from. Let's introduce Midnight Juggernauts who were the DJs between Haiku Hands and presets.
Yeah. So they rolled out, and it was interesting because there was two of them for a start. Straight away, I'm like, oh, they got two DJs, and they seem to
they
be
need
sharing the
to?
knobs here and there. Yeah, like, oh, you're doing that. Okay, I'm gonna watch you do that. I'll do this one over here. I've got this one. This is my knob there. And
This
I
is
liked,
two people who know nothing about DJing.
yeah, I don't
That's
know
what it
what
looks
they were
like.
doing. But first of all, I really liked how the big screen was shared with all the acts. So as opposed to a Fatboy Slim, who had this amazing big screen, but none of the support acts had anything on it. It's almost like oh, I'm going to keep that up our sleeve. So yeah, so we had this big screen behind, and it really worked well. I mean, even for the DJs, they had a filter. They had like a Dungeons and Dragons filter on, or a Wizards filter. So they would show their faces and they would become wizards or something like that.
Yeah, so when they move, Dungeons and Dragons image moves as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were a real crowd pleaser because all the music they were sampling was very familiar. It was very 2000s, a bit of Kylie Minogue, that sort of thing. So yeah, that was fun. A little bit cheesy, a little bit fun. One of the guys from Midnight Juggernauts did look like a wizard, which I was surprised they were playing Kylie Minogue. And I didn't connect the two, but it didn't take long for me to go, yes, this works. Because we were up the front, and so it was loud enough to us. Was that when that guy pushed through the crowd?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
At the time, they were playing Born Slippy from the Train Spotting soundtrack by Underworld, which is a huge song. And I can understand why that guy came through to make that statement. What did he do, Andy?
Well, he suddenly pushed in, and we are like, oh, is this guy drunk? One of those drunk guys? I want to be in the front row. And he's like, oh, sorry, excuse me. And he went up and he just started yelling out, it's not loud enough. We can't hear it up the back. And that's when it occurred to me, he might not be drunk. He might have a point here. Because it wasn't really, like, for us, it was okay, but there's no need for even an earplug or anything like that in the front row. So, and then he was talking about, well, it's 80 decibels up the back. Oh, that's what I registered at the phone. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's not really loud enough at all. And then people got involved and the music went up. It got louder.
That's right.
Turn it up! Turn it up! Turn it up! Is it getting louder? Is it getting louder? Louder! Louder! Turn up the volume!
Who was the guy that came out and said, turn it up, turn it up? He was wearing a beautiful suit.
I know. He picked up the wizard-looking guy from Midnight Juggle, picked him up and rocked him like a baby. I think he was the drummer from the presets, but he was wearing a different outfit, so that's what threw me. But I think it was.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, they put the music up then and people could hear it up the back.
Yeah, it turns out he wasn't drunk. He was just some sound engineer. Knew his stuff.
Knew his stuff, so...
But the fact that everyone could hear him, including Midnight Juggernauts could hear him say, turn it up, it's not loud enough, must mean that it wasn't very loud.
Yeah, well, it was bizarre because I don't even know if they have noise restrictions, but I did mention this for Jimmy Barnes. They had a guy parked across the road with a big microphone with some sort of, something from the council or something to do the noise level. And then the other thing that we spoke about afterwards was the last song of the presets was just kind of like a little bit average. And most people would think, oh, they're going to do like My People or, some of their big hits. And it didn't happen.
It didn't. It was the same thing that happened with, Pearl Jam is a much bigger band and it made more sense. But it was almost like they were serving this song to the obscure hardcore fans who had been there since 2003 when they first formed. And this last song was for them. And it wasn't for us. The show in general, what I thought about the show in general, it was a bit low key for me.
Okay.
A bit low key. But you know what? Maybe with kind of electronic music, I need to be in the crowd more, not in the front row. But you were a little bit more in the crowd. What did you think overall?
Yeah, look, I liked it. I probably liked it better than Empire of the Sun. Same kind of music.
Oh.
Same kind of era. But I was up close. But yeah, they weren't super engaging. But I don't know, actually, Empire of the Sun was pretty good. They had a lot of stuff to look at, a lot of visuals and stuff like that.
Empire of the Sun.
Yeah, it was more
Yeah,
of a
that was a big show.
yeah, it was a big show. Yeah, but you got to weigh
I
it up,
prefer.
What do they pay? Where was I
Oh,
sitting?
okay.
Blah
Oh,
blah
that's
blah.
true. I would, if I had to recommend either Empire of Sun or Presets to a friend, I would recommend Empire of the Sun. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
would
true.
see them again.
Yeah,
Oh, but
that's
you know
true.
what? It does depend on venue, doesn't it? Because the venue for Presets was so much better.
It does, yeah.
A little more intimate.
Comes down to ticket price as well, Like I rave about the Ability Festival, $60. Yeah, can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, that was good.
So you don't judge anything on $60. You're like, everything's like, whoa.
You
I would have
can't
paid
lose.
$60 to see one band, to see the Floodlights. Yeah, that would have been great. Well, look, I think that wraps it up, for the presets.
That wraps it up. Thanks, Presets, Midnight Juggernauts, and Haiku Hands. I'm seeing Haiku Hands again. Would you see any of them again, Andy?
Yes, I would see the Juggernauts and Haiku Hands.
Interesting.
Again.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Juggernauts. I'll say if you go, I'll go. Thanks very much for listening.